Hey everyone, Amy here, and I am going to be taking you through two wonderful but complementary techniques that are going to be great for chest opening, mid, upper back, as well as the neck region. So some of the items that you will absolutely need for today, you might want to just have a pillow on hand, maybe one blanket, 2 to 3 hand towels. For those of you that have been around myofascial release for a while, you might have some extra tools, so maybe have those on hand: a cranial cradle, 6-inch ball, 4-inch ball, and or a Franklin. Those are not necessary, but they are something that you will probably see me using more than the rolled up hand towels. So for today, we will be taking osteoporosis modifications for both techniques. So if you do have bone density changes, make sure that you're following those techniques. And I do want to let you know that the two techniques I'm taking you through today, there is a learning curve to them. So most importantly, when we are doing them, give yourself a lot of grace today. Just be as easy with yourself as you can. They are going to focus a lot on really allowing our body to just surrender, to be able to soften into the technique. Some of the areas you may have never done that in. And so it's okay if you don't feel your body softening today, but you do want to hopefully be able to get that softening to occur. And then making sure that you are listening and honoring the body. If your body is not responding, let's modify the technique. Let's lessen the intensity by going down. Maybe we're using Franklin in an area, and instead I'm going to go down to using a rolled up towel. So make sure that you're just listening and honoring where the body's at today. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to get started. Okay, we are going to go into our second technique, which is one of my favorite techniques. It is actually I call it stacking. So we are going to use two tools to do this stacking technique. For those of you that do have bone density changes or osteoporosis, we are going to want to be taking modifications by using a towel roll that is flatter. We are going to use 2 of them. So one spot that we are going to rest this is on our upper back region, and then we're also going to place one underneath our head. For those of you that have other tools, some great alternatives are any of these 3 tools, the cranial cradle, the 4-inch ball, or Franklin. You're going to see me using Franklin and the cradle today. But I am going to take you through and get those bone density change individuals into position first. Okay, so we are going to use this rolled up towel in our upper back. So it's right at the top of our shoulder blade, right where a lot of us get tension in those upper traps. And then when we set that first tool, I always want people to just do a check-in and notice how their body is feeling. If you are feeling any type of compression through our low back, this is where we can take another towel, just place it underneath our pelvis, or our 4-inch ball underneath our sacrum if you are feeling any low back compression. But then we're going to place another tool just under the base of the skull. So we are elevating our upper back, we are elevating our head. So I'm going to remove those. I'm going to use my tools. So if you are using the cranial cradle in the upper back, which I'm going to, I usually like the point to be pointed towards my feet. So I'm going to place that right into my upper back. Now, when we get on these tools, you definitely want to check into your low back. If you are feeling any compression through your low back, you are going to want to elevate that a little bit. And then I'm going to go with Franklin underneath the head. Now I am going to use an extra tool underneath my back. It's not because I'm feeling compression, but I feel as if my body is not going to be able to give onto the tool. So you're going to see me place something underneath my sacrum. So now I'm stacking with 3 tools. And what you will notice when you bring that other end up, you will probably feel more weight in that middle tool at that upper back. If that is too much for you, I want you to remove that and lessen what you have down at the lower pelvis. But now we're going to do our check-in. We're checking the intensity of anything that we're feeling, rating it on a scale of 0 to 10. Should be less than 3 out of 10. Again, there's a learning curve to this of finding the right tools in the right position. So if you are feeling greater than a 3 out of 10 in any sensation, we need to lessen the intensity. If you are feeling less than 3 out of 10, we are good to go into our softening. So now we are focusing on the top of the body, sinking and melting straight down, allowing the back of our body to start to get heavy. Now the beautiful thing about stacking, and I'm going to give you a visual, is it creates almost like a hammock. So where the ends are lifted up, so for me it's at my pelvis and it's at my head, those are the ends of my hammock. And now I can really allow my body to soften and drape like a hammock would in between. So we want to visualize, we want to imagine that hammock sinking, melting. Allowing the entirety of our body to start to get heavier. Really focusing on the front of the rib cage, the breastbone or sternum. Seeing and feeling those starting to sink, those starting to melt straight through towards the floor. Feeling the back of the ribs and the spine sinking more heavily into the floor and tools. Wherever you start to feel a little bit of increased tension, resistance, there's your restriction. So that's where we use our breath. Start to draw your breath into what you're feeling. And when we bring our awareness into that area, many times with that exhale, you're going to start to feel it give a little bit. So continue to allow yourself to soften. One thing that you may be feeling is this sense of length. So right now I feel like my left arm especially just feels like it's getting longer. So I want to allow that to happen. That's my body unwinding and opening. So if you start to get a sense that there's a little bit of movement through the neck, upper body, arms, allow it to happen. In just a few minutes, we'll start to progress this technique. But for now, I'm going to give you some time to just focus on softening. Making sure that your body is softening. If it's not, lessen the intensity, listen and honor. If your body is continuing to feel like it's just softening and surrendering onto the tools, and you want to stay with that, please do. If you feel like you want to take it into a little bit of a progression, one thing that we can do is start to make those snow angels. So I would start with one arm at a time. I'm going to start with my left, starting to just slide that arm up along your side like you're making a snow angel. When you hit a little bit of change in sensation, that's our connection, that's our restriction. So we want to stop there, breathe into what we're feeling. And if you're raising that left arm up, you can start to let the neck slowly turn away, which will create a beautiful length and opening through this entire left side. Seeing and feeling almost that head and neck is elongating away from that arm ever so gently. And then when you want to, you can bring that right arm in, make a snow angel with that right arm, stopping where you feel a little bit of change in sensation. Once you find it, how you can breathe, lengthen through that chest into the arms. It's almost as if someone is lengthening those arms away from the chest ever so gently. It's a beautiful opening through the chest. And then just letting that head or neck move where it wants to, or you can manually move it to find a spot where you feel a little bit of increased sensation. Again, that's your connection. That's your restriction. Stop at that point. Breathe into what you're feeling until it gives and releases. Now, this is one of those techniques that I could easily hang out here for 10 to 15 minutes. As long as it's feeling good, my body's continuing to open up and soften. And give it about 30 seconds to a minute more. Get that last little bit of opening. And if this is feeling good for you, you can stay here. Keep opening that up. But I'm going to take the rest of us down into removing our tools. Usually I like to remove, if we have anything in our pelvis first, and then we can roll off to a side and remove the rest of the tools. And then once you have that, again, you can hang out here if you want to longer on the mat. Otherwise, gently rolling to your side, coming up to a seated position. I hope that you enjoyed our chest, neck, and back openers today, and I hope that I will see you on the mat again soon, but have a wonderful day.